All right, let's talk about how to develop a dynamic speech topic. So, when you are deciding what speech you are going to talk about and you have all these topics in mind, you might want to think about what situation are you actually in. And so these are a few of those key things to consider. So, let's start off with the mood that you are trying to create. And so, if you are giving a speech, you want to think about, do I want this to be inspirational? Do I want it to be engaging in a way that makes people want to take action? Do I want it to be something that people ponder? Do I want it to be really informative? What do I want the mood of the room to be in? Do I want us to feel calm and collected and thinking of about a past loved one? So what's happening here, and how does that determine what topic we even choose and how we kind of frame that topic as we are going through it? So that is something to consider, is the mood. Another thing to consider is going to be your goals. So, what is your end goal that you are trying to do or get when you are creating this speech? So, when you are framing it, you want to think about getting it so that if it's informative, are you leaving with us getting that information as an audience? You always want to really be centered on that audience. So, are they going to leave and they know how to do that action afterwards? Are they going to leave and after your speech, they're able to share it with other people and spread the message? Or is it something where your goal is to sell something, or your goal is to persuade us to take a different action or see the world differently? You want to think about what your goals are as you are developing your speech topic and thinking about how you're framing it, or else sometimes you think you're doing one thing and you end up going completely sideways and doing a completely different thing with your speech than you intended. So you really want to keep those goals in mind throughout this speech making process. Okay, the next thing to kind of think about is the environment that you're in. So, where are you giving this speech? Is it going to be in an online format where you're going to have to think about your background and the level of your camera so that you can make eye contact as best as possible? Are you thinking about how much space you are if you're in person? So, do you have enough room that you're moving around? Are you going to be standing in front of a screen and you're going to be blocking your material while you're giving your speech? You want to plan it out. And also, are people walking by and they're not able to listen to a full speech? Do you have to just do quick pitches over and over again? How much depth do you go into depending on the environment of, are people walking by? Are people sitting down? Are they more of a captive audience? Are there ways that you could bring in the environment into your speech to make the topic more dynamic or more interesting? So just thinking about, hey, we're in Colorado, and right now we might be talking about the weather, for instance. So kind of thinking about how, if you're talking about climate change or something, you can bring in the environment that we actually live in rather than making these abstract ideas in order to make the topic come alive and really engage your audience. So, something to consider. Another thing to consider, and one of the most important, is timing. So, for all of our speeches, they're going to have a time frame for you to keep in mind. So, if it's a 5 to 7 minute speech, you're going to have to think, oh, okay, I'm going to do about out three main points. That's our goal for all of our speeches. But in the future, you might have longer lengths of time and might be able to break it up even more. You might be having a shorter time frame that you're doing it, or less structure. But usually, if there's things that are divided as key points, you want to make sure that those key points are even amongst how you're distributing your information. So it's not like you're going over your first main point for a hell of a long time and then the next main point is really short and we're kind of like, oh, was that a main point or was that just an aside? What was that? And it doesn't give us enough time to process or realize the level of importance if there's just all different lengths. And then depending on the length, you kind of have leeway of, can you tell that story? Can you bring in a video? Can you do certain things? Or if it's shorter, is it going to be something where you're like, oh, I have to just give the gist of the situation? I had to make it a little bit more general because going into depth is going to take too much time. So, some things to kind of consider. So, in a 5 to 7 minute speech, if it's divided into three main points, I would say shoot for about a minute and a half to 2 minutes per point to kind of get those ideas and make it pretty even. Just know that when we're practicing at home, we tend to speak faster when we're feeling any kind of spotlight. So if we're recording something, if we are in front of other people. So I'd say for a 5 to 7 minute speech, if we planned it out, we're rehearsing, we might be at exactly 5 minutes. Know that that's probably going to equal 4.5 minutes when you're in front of an audience, just because our nerves tend to take over and we speak faster. So you really want to plan out the timing ahead of time when you're developing the speech topic to know if you're going to have to rush through information or if it feels pretty calm and collected and engaging the way that you're able to break it down. So these are just some of the things to consider when you are developing your speech topic. And that's just in the framework of thinking about the situation you're in.